Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm Daniel Card, and I interviewed Darren Abate. He is a San Antonio-based freelance photographer. Um, I'll just hold it like that. Okay, so I did my interview on Saturday night. I went to the San Antonio Rampage hockey game because he is their official photographer. He does all their team shots. It was really cool. I met him 2 hours before the event. We had lunch or dinner together, and then we also took a little tour of the building. And I took like 45 minutes to interview him beforehand. And then I got to see what he got to do. I got to shadow him. I got to actually take photos with him. I got to go on the ice with him, shoot pictures of him, shoot some requests that he had because he got what was known as a photo request beforehand. And a photo request is where you get all your information, what you need to shoot. So I started off by asking him what his background was and how he got into it. And his background was he was originally a music major at UTSA. And then he borrowed his uncle's or his father's 35 millimeter. And when he borrowed that, he skipped school for a day and decided to shoot pictures instead. And he said he was addicted. He was just hooked on it after that, and he kept shooting. He ended up meeting Trisha Buckhorn, who's one of our advisors, at this thing called the mass casualty exercise at San Antonio Airport, and it's where they practice having a plane crash. And Trisha convinced him to come to the Ranger and work for the Ranger and shoot on the Ranger. While he was doing that, he said he gained nothing but experience that he's used. He's never been yelled at as bad as he got yelled at by Trisha, which completely set him up for being a really good photographer. He said every skill he's learned there has made him great. He's probably one of the best known freelance photographers in San Antonio. I was talking to him about internships and what he recommends doing, and he said, I did everything wrong. If there's a way to do something the correct way, I found the wrong way to do it. So don't follow my footsteps like I did it. I never did internships. You should do them. If you get the opportunity to do internships, do it. I don't belong to any clubs because I'm not a club gentleman, but you should join these clubs. These are who you should look for. Look for the MPPA, and there was another one called the American Society of Media Photographers. Join them as well. He said they're good. They will help you out. Don't do it the way I did it. I've just made my niche so far, so I don't really need to go back and do some of these things. Let's see what else.
So when you're on the ice, I'm curious, did you put skates on or did you just walk out there?
Just walked around. Walked around. Because I'm from Utah, I know how to walk on ice. He first told me not to do it. He's like, well, I don't want you to fall because it's incredibly slick. And then he knew I was from Utah, and I became his Facebook friend, so he kind of saw that. So he let me go out on ice with him because I know how to actually walk on ice without busting my head. And then he gave me some advice, and I asked him what his ultimate advice was. And he said, this is really cliche, and this is the advice I was given when I first he met his hero in photography, and that's who he really liked. He said to shoot, shoot, shoot. And he said, even though that's completely overrated, completely cliched, and all that, it's completely true. And he said at first he didn't think it, and he was like, what kind of advice was that? I thought you were going to change my life with something, and then you just said that. And he said it wasn't until a few years later, and he realized literally that's it. Shooting is what we do. That's the only way to progress is to shoot. He also recommended that you don't look at other photographers' work. You'll know them, but don't study them, because then their work is going to come into you. And being a photographer, you want to be yourself. You want to find your own niche and your own uniqueness as a photographer, and that's what you need to capitalize on. That's what you need to push. That's how you get people to find you. He said for income, there's no starting off income. He said there's no way he could base it as a freelance photographer, because a freelance photographer, you can take one shoot a year and you're a freelance photographer, or you can do it nonstop like he does. And he gave me his amount off the record, which was crazy. I didn't expect it. But he did end up going over staff photographers. And a staff photographer, he said you can make between 30 to 40,000 starting off, and that's a generous amount.
With benefits too, right?
Yeah, with benefits as a staff photographer. And then you can also make up to 50 to 60,000 capping off at his experience if he was doing staff. He just doesn't want a pay cut because he likes what he does right now. He said perk of being a freelance is you get to pick the assignments you want to do. You don't have to shoot weddings. You don't have to shoot funerals. You can choose whatever you want to cover, and you can cover it. He gets to make his own schedule. He says he has no typical day, but his ideal day would be getting to sleep in, because he said that he loves to sleep in, and that's something he enjoys, is sleeping in and working. Some days he'll go out and cover a bunch of assignments. Other days he's just going to be out there, or he's not even leave his house, and he's going to be just doing editing and marketing and things like that, contacting people. Asking him about the future of photojournalism, he said, you need to learn video. That is one thing. I get referrals all the time because I got friends who are just still photographers, and people want video now. And so that's how he gets tons of businesses, because he can do video. So that's one thing you really need to learn is video. He also said if you want to do freelance, you need to learn business. Unless you know how to run a business, and, most people don't realize that being a freelance is running your own business. You have to market yourself. You have to do your own accounting. You have to handle all that. And he said unless you can hire an accountant, which will make your life easier, take business courses. Learn how to operate your own business.
10 seconds.
Shoot.
Good advice.